Do you feel more Indonesian or British?
Aku di mana-mana ada mengalami treatment yang lebih bagus karena aku kelihatan kayak bule.
Warna itu aku putih bule, tapi dalamnya wong Jawa. Iya.
Ladies and gentlemen, half Indonesian, half something else. Today we're asking people with mixed heritage what it means to have Indonesian blood. Could you please introduce yourself?
From London, born in London originally, but my father is from Bali. My mum is from London. So I was born and raised in North London, lived my whole life in London, school in London, and then I moved to Bali 3 years ago.
Saya itu setengah Jerman, setengah Indonesia. Bapak Jerman, ibu Indonesia, tapi lahir besarnya di Malang. Mau bilang orang Jerman iya, orang Malang juga iya.
Soalnya aku itu sajane bapakku tekan Inggris, Scotland. Buku semuanya dari Manado, cuma gede di Surabaya. Lah ade lahirnya di Bekasi, gede di Bekasi sisa sampai di Malang, terus saiki di Bali.
What is it like growing up in London and then move to Bali?
I think London has such a unique culture. It's so rich in diversity and very, very multicultural. You grow up there, you get a lot of street smarts, you're exposed to so many different backgrounds and different communities of people. And so I had a very open-minded upbringing, sorry. I think that really pushed me to travel and to explore and want to learn about my Balinese side as well. There's actually a lot of Indonesian people in London.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of Indonesian people, a lot of societies, we celebrate Galungan and Kuningan. So even though I wasn't around, Bali, I didn't grow up here, I still had access to meeting a lot of Indonesian people.
Pas cilik ya dipanggil bule-bule terus sih. Walaupun kan bisa bahasa Jawa, konco-koncoku kabeh dek kene, main bal-balan, gawe bahasa Indonesia kabeh. Rada angel dianggap wong Indonesia gitu loh. Tapi saiki wis lah sudah mulai dibilang kayak orang Indonesia. Mungkin itu secara mental dari kecil cuman banyak dibilang bule-bule, gak seneng aja sih.
Orang tuh nganggapnya, oh kamu bule ya, kamu dari mana, kamu bule asli. Banyak juga beberapa kasus itu dilihat kayak, oh kamu pasti orangnya high class, pasti orang kayak gitu. Sebenarnya enggak sih gitu, aku memang orang biasa-biasa aja. I came from a single mother and also with all of the struggles and I'm not really rich as well. Tapi ya mungkin dari dampak lebih ke pandangan orang sih. Karena jujur mau kayak gimana pun ngomong aku lokal atau kayak gimana, orang gak akan menganggap itu lokal.
Do you feel more Indonesian or British?
I mean, I'll always be a London girl, for sure. Like, that's in my blood. But I think as I've grown up and as I've become more independent, moved over here completely by myself, I've really realised that a lot of my beliefs and my views and the way I'd like to curate my lifestyle is very in alignment with Balinese culture. And it's something that I didn't really realise until I came here and connected it. So I think I can feel it more within my soul, and my blood is very Balinese. But it wasn't something that I necessarily could understand being back in London.
Aku dewe sih warna itu aku putih bule, tapi dalamnya wong Jawa. Iya. Memang dari dulu orang-orang melihatnya cuman bule-bule, tapi anjir arek Malang. Ya mau gimana mau ganti nggak bisa.
Aku juga lebih lokal daripada yang lokal.
Oh gitu.
Iya.
Apa coba yang membuat kamu lebih lokal dari yang lokal apa?
Mungkin aku bisa salah ya, Mas kayak kenal ada orang Indonesia yang bisa 2 bahasa daerah deh. Itu banyak gak? 2?
Nggak sebanyak itu.
Nggak sebanyak itu.
Biasanya kayak aku Jawa ya Jawa aja.
Maksudnya biasa kan Indo doang, kalau nggak Jawa. Kalau misalnya Indo pasti satu daerah. Cuma yang untuk lebih kayak orang ini juga orang Manado kok memang. Jadi orang ada tinggal di Likupang, ada di atas, kong ada di kawasan, kong dulu ada kerja di bandara. Aku juga paham kalau misalnya orang Sunda kalau ngomong, kalau misalnya temen-temen juga banyak dari Bandung. Aku pede sih bisa ngomong aku lebih lokal daripada yang lain. Soalnya aku memang belajar. Aku memang nempatin diriku untuk belajar. Kalau yang lain bisa ngaku ya aku WNI ya memang kelihatan WNI, memang semua secara fisik Indonesia. Cuma kalau dari kelakuan banyak yang kayak apalagi yang Jaksel ya, style suka luar negeri atau Y2K atau kayak gimana. Ada juga yang WNI yang sebenarnya nggak bangga dia WNI kayak gitu.
The two cultures within you, how are they mixed in?
I mean, this is so stereotypical. My English side is always apologising. We're always on time or early, always need a plan, structure. That was definitely something that I had to kind of surrender into when I came here, just being on Indo time and like santai, chill, like even the art of just being still and relaxing and doing nothing. Like I think in the Western world we're always in this sort of hustle mindset. We're always going somewhere, there's always a time frame for things, and it's a lot more scheduled and regimented. Whereas here, what I love, you can just show up to someone's house unannounced, or you can go drive out here somewhere, and just everything is a lot easier and time isn't so
Fixed.
isn't so fixed. For some people I think if they come here, maybe that's really difficult to get into. Again, I think because when I would come here when I was younger, straight up to the village, and we do nothing there. Like, we just chill all the time. And so that for me is my Balinese experience as a child. And I can kind of lean into that a little bit more. It's a bit easier for me.
Mungkin kalau bagi waktu, orang Jerman kan harus ikut tepat waktu. Oke, mungkin meeting jam 1, datangnya setengah 1 gitu. Indonesia kulturnya buat saya lebih ramah, lebih enak. Kalau Jerman individunya lebih kesendirian individu, itu juga bagus lah untuk pendirian sendiri.
Indonesian mindset, I think they're more collective and more communal, and they don't want to be going out and putting themselves in more uncomfortable situations potentially. Whereas I think with Western people, it's a lot more individualistic, and we're a lot more groomed to be independent and go off and do your own thing and be self-sufficient and look after yourself. But here, I really strive for community, and that's something that we don't really get in England so much, I think. Maybe we do, but it's not so much within the family dynamic, or even like within, the banja. There's a lot of support there for you all the time, and it's kind of without question, whereas in England, it's not so much like that. And that's something that I don't really like there, to be honest.
Kan Bapak Jerman, Ibu yang Indonesia. Bagaimana clash-nya, bentrok antara dua budaya itu kalau sehari-hari?
Papa kan memang dari dulu sudah lahir besarnya di Indonesia juga, walaupun orang Jerman. Ya saja anggap dia sebagai lebih Indonesia daripada Jerman. Apalagi bapak itu suka budaya Jawa gitu. Nah, sama ibu itu gak banyak nge-clash sih.
Berarti nggak ada ya, karena Bapak emang full Jawa
Iya,
juga.
ada Jawanya pisan.
To be honest, because I didn't grow up with my parents together, I never really saw them in that light. But again, maybe it's that sense of time and urgency, like the Indo's so chill. Even when I go and see my dad, I'd see him every week. We'd just sit and play guitar together for hours, and like he'd cook me food, and that was kind of his love language. We just chill, whereas maybe Western people, English people, like we always need to be doing something or activities and this and that, and it's a little bit, I can definitely see the more urgent side in my mom, and then the chill side in my dad for sure.
Sampean tahu gak ngerasa krisis identitas?
Tekan nom sih awalnya kerasa kayak ngono. Soalnya tekan cilik kok kayak aku kayak iso normal, kayak iso ngene. Sering dibully sama guru-guru sendiri atau sama kayak yang lain-lain, kayak suka ngejalin, suka apa. Tapi pas sudah tumbuh, pas sudah gede, sebenarnya sih mulai sadar kayak enggak juga sih. Bahkan kalau mau aku bilang tuh lebih kayak advantage. Untuk sekarang sih aku bersyukur lah, semua udah lebih ke banyak advantage-nya.
I don't necessarily feel the identity crisis that comes with being mixed. I think, that is very common for a lot of mixed heritage kids. I think here, actually, being mixed is really well received. When I talk to locals. Yeah, I think so. When I talk to locals, they're actually, instead of kind of being put off, they're quite fascinated. Because it's not common that you would meet a half English or half London, half Balinese kid. And so I've never had a bad reception from anyone. Same like in London, I think, again, because it's so diverse, I'm not really like the odd one out. So I've never really had a negative experience being mixed, which is a blessing.
Dulu waktu kecil memang susah dianggap sebagai anak Indonesia. Kecuali buat orang-orang yang deket sama aku yang memang kenal di Jerman pun ya juga gak dianggap orang Jerman. Jadi untuk rasa saya di tempat mana itu dari dulu agak angel dicari gitu. Tapi suwe-suwe ya gak peduli ngono sih Mas. Jadi ya wes lah, kalau gak dianggap kene ya udah masih dalani ae.
Sebanyak apa temanmu yang juga sesama blasteran?
Paling ada ya 5 atau sampai 7 orang yang aku tahu itu, dan mereka tuh lebih hidden gitu loh, kayak mereka tuh nggak terlalu mau exposein diri sendiri, lebih ngumpet ke paling daerah negara mereka yang mixnya itu sih, karena mereka lebih sering ke situ daripada ke sini. Kalau aku sih, aku nggak punya leverage untuk ke situ, aku nggak punya step untuk ke situ, karena ya memang aku WNI. Banyak temanku bahkan yang lebih tua yang memang mungkin dia masih ada krisis identitasnya, mungkin mereka nanya kelayakannya atau enggak. Cuma balik lagi sih kayak personal, kayaknya lebih pentingnya itu dari parentingnya sama cara mereka dibesarkannya.
Kakek sing dari Bali, ada yang dari Jakarta. Mungkin beda karena kalau aku di Malang, aku bal-balan sama arek-arek kampung di kene. Main sama sini ada anak-anak Papua juga dari kecil, besarnya sama mereka anak-anak timur. Lebih bergaulnya dari dulu memang bukan sama bule-bule atau cari yang sesama, tapi bebas mau sama siapapun. Anak-anak mix sama yang di Bali atau ini, mereka memang justru lebih ke budaya negaranya atau lebih yang ke asing gitu. Bukan bilang mereka gak suka Indonesia atau gak milih Indonesia gitu, bukan. Tapi lebih ke mereka ada sisi yang lebih kuat dari satunya. Jadi kalau ketemu sama mereka ngobrolnya pasti enak, tapi lama-lama suwe-suwe ngono angel. Angel pisan, terus akhir drama apa-apa.
When my mom came here, there were also a bunch of other English women that also came here, married Indonesian men, Balinese men specifically from Buleleng, Singaraja. Indonesia all had kids at a similar time. So I had a lot of family friends also around me, a group of us, kind of like cousins, siblings. And we also grew up together with the same heritage. And that's not really that easy to find, I don't think. You know, if you say you're from Bali and London, that's a very unique mix. But I was so fortunate to have a few other people that shared that with me. So I think we kind of learned a lot from each other.
Okay.
That shared experience, maybe that shared upbringing. And maybe that's where I got more of an influence from,
I see.
potentially.
Menurut sampean, apakah anak blasteran atau half mix Indonesians dengan negara lain itu terromantisasi?
Itu sih banget sih. Kalau mau dibilang ya, apalagi cara publik dan apa segala itu udah bukan, menurutku ya itu bukan rahasia umum lagi. Aku di mana-mana ada mengalami treatment yang lebih bagus daripada yang lain. Karena aku kelihatan kayak sekedar kayak bule. Nggak cuma dari segi sosial, tapi dari segi percintaan, dari segi tempat kerja itu pasti ada. Apalagi kalau di tempat kerja yang kayak hospitality itu pasti ada. Lebih difavoritin, lebih diapain. Dan secara negatifnya juga ada. Misalnya aku mau beli ke pasar, itu pasti dinaikin harganya.
Jadi sebagai mixed atau multicultural ini, it comes with a price ya.
Comes with the price, of course.
Okay.
It's a really high trade-off. Positifnya itu bagus kalau kamu gerak. Kalau misal kamu nggak gerak, loyo-loyo atau kebanyakan pesta, terlalu banyak having fun atau nyeleneh lah hidupnya, nggak terlalu bagus sih. Kayak pasti pandangannya juga pasti rendah untuk banyak orang.
You speak Indonesian?
Sedikit aja.
Sedikit.
Selamat pagi. Saya Putu Sofia Atniana, saya sendiri. Saya tinggal di Budok dekat sini. Itu lebih lokal, itu lebih sepi. Jadi saya rasanya lebih peaceful.
Apa makanan favoritmu?
Oh, favorit harus babi guling.
Kamu berencana tinggal di Indonesia selamanya?
Rencananya saya mau jalan-jalan lebih banyak di luar Bali, mau ke Jawa. Sebenarnya saya ke Bromo bulan depan sama teman, naik motor ke Bromo. That will be really fun. Karena saya suka naik gunung.
Tachao Niman, Washao Tanili, Washa Iniren.
Halo, penjenengan Brandon Marcel Scheunemann. Ich bin 20 Jahre alt und ich wohne in Malang, Indonesia. Sekarang lagi mau interview dengan Not Diplomat. And I'm happy to be here.
Not Diplomat Channel,